Hi, thanks for joining me today for this yoga sequence that is great post-run or following another workout to balance out the body. We're going to stretch out many of the large muscles that we use often in running and other workouts, incorporate some lateral movement, and also flow to release any tension we might have built up in the body. We're assuming that we've already warmed up, so if that's not the case, maybe we add on a little bit or do something just short to warm up the body. We're going to start in mountain pose, so standing tall on our mat with our feet about hip distance apart, just noticing. Let's feel all corners of the feet here. Notice a strong, tall posture. We can close our eyes, drawing the chin in. Thinking about upstring, pulling us tall from the crown of the head all the way down to our feet. Engaging the core, so really focusing more on stretch, but pay attention to the core as we work through our practice. Let's take an inhale, reach the hands up toward the sky. On the exhale, we're going to fold forward, hinging at the hips so we can bring the hands down through heart center or out to the side. Soften in the knees. We're going to roll all the way back up. We're just going to flow this a few times. Inhale up, exhale, fold forward. And one more time, soften the knees, roll all the way up. Inhale at the top, extended mountain, exhale, fold forward. And holding in our forward fold here, for just a few breaths, we can bend the knees deep if we'd like. Letting the crown of the head release down, taking any tension, shaking any tension out of the head. Shake it yes, shake it no. Soften in the knees, drop the hips down and back. We're going to roll all the way back up. Reach the hands up toward the sky. We're going to take the right arm down. Reach the left arm across the body. Then both hands reach up toward the sky. Switch sides. Left hand comes down. Right arm reaches across. Inhale, both hands up. Then take those hands behind the back, clasping them together or just having the palms facing one another. Sending the heart and the chest open toward the sky. We can soften in our knees here. And then reaching the hands back up toward the sky. Let's fold all the way forward. Back into that flow in our forward fold. Soften in the knees. Roll all the way back up. Massage the spine just like we are a rag doll. Reach the hands up toward the sky. Bring the hands into heart center. We're going to step to the long side of the mat, turning the toes out slightly. So we have a wide stance. Reaching the hands up toward the sky. And then exhale into a deep plie. Just opening up through those hips. Inhale, hands reach up. Exhale, deep plie. Draw the elbows in toward the body. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, deep plie. And then we're going to bring the fingertips down to the ground. Send the tailbone and hips up toward the sky as we turn the feet toward the long side of the mat, finding a straddle splits. Breathe into the hamstrings here. So really focus on the inhale and the exhale. Not getting too caught up with the breath. If we'd like, we can close our mouth, breathing in and out through the nose only. Or just leaving the mouth open and finding natural breath. Soften in the knees, dropping the hips down and back. We're going to keep the fingertips down on the ground, and we're just going to shift the hips from one side to the other. So we bend into one knee as we straighten the opposite leg. Doesn't matter which direction we start in. Getting over into the groin. Getting into that lateral movement that we talked about. Going from side to side. Making sure we do an equal amount on both sides. And then coming back to center and holding here with hips down and back. Taking the hands up to the thighs. Just with a long spine, we're going to breathe here into the glutes. Pressing those hips back, drawing the knees back. We can add on a few cat and cows here if we'd like. Open the chest as we gaze forward, letting the belly just come down toward the ground slightly. On the exhale, round the spine up toward the sky, tucking the chin, rounding the shoulders forward. Inhale, open, gaze forward. And exhale, round. Notice the glutes, maybe even into those hamstrings. And of course, the spine. Inhale, open one more time. And exhale, round. And then bringing those fingertips back down to the mat. We're going to walk the hands toward the front of the mat. Stepping the feet back into a plank position. Holding here. Exhale down through our chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog. We can always choose cobra if we like here to modify. And exhale back into down dog. Here in our down dog, we're going to bicycle the heels, walking our dog. Taking one heel off the mat as the other comes down, and then switching sides, just going from side to side, taking it at our own pace. Then we're going to hold here in the center in our down dog, pressing into the hands, pressing up and back through the hips, lengthening out the spine, engaging the low belly, and drawing those heels down toward the ground as we lengthen out the legs. Know that we don't have to have perfectly straight legs. Soften the knees, lift and extend the right leg up and back. Bend that knee, turn the hip open. And then we'll square the hips and the right foot forward in between the hands. And we're going to walk those hands toward the left side of the mat. Sweep them all the way back toward that left foot. Bend over into the left knee as we straighten out the right leg. We can keep the right fingertips down on the ground. We're going to send the left hand up toward the sky. So twisting away from that extended right leg, stretching out the groin. Walking the hands back toward the front of the mat. Breathe there. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the right foot over to the edge of the mat. Both hands inside that right foot. We could use a block here if we need to be up a little bit higher or even be on the fingertips. We're going to bend into the elbows here. Get a little deeper into those hips in our lizard stretch. Making sure the right knee is comfortable. So we'll take the foot far enough forward that the knee is directly over the foot. And then let the left knee come down to the ground. Walk that right foot back in. Walking the hands up to the top of the right thigh. Keeping the left toes tucked under. We're going to shift the hips down and forward. Again, making sure that the right knee is comfortable, not tracking too far out over the toes. Generally keeping the knee over the heel. And let's reach the left hand up toward the sky. And we're going to twist toward the right side. So just twist from the waist all the way up through the left fingertips toward the right side. Breathe there. And then bring the hands down to frame the right foot. We're going to send the tailbone back toward the left heel as we flex the right toes up toward the sky. We can walk the fingertips back toward the hips. Again, we can use a block here, so our half splits position. Then walking the fingertips back forward to frame the right foot. We're going to plant that foot down on the ground as we lift the left foot off the ground, reach it up toward the sky, standing splits. We can hold here with the fingertips on the ground. We could challenge our balance by taking the hands off, or even bend that left knee. Take the right hand around the back, maybe clasping the right hand onto the left foot for a bind to get a quad stretch here. Oh, it feels nice in the quad. Feels nice in the hamstring. And then send that left foot far back on the mat. Send the right foot back to meet it. We're going to exhale down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Soften the knees as we lift and extend the left leg up and back. Bend the knee, turn the hip open. Then square the hips, send the left foot forward in between the hands. Walk the hands toward the right side, all the way back toward that right foot as we bend into the right knee, keeping the left leg straight. Left fingertips come down, right arm reaches up toward the sky. So getting a stretch through the left groin. And then walking those hands back toward the front of the mat. This time inside the left foot. So walking the left foot over to the edge of the mat slightly. Fingertips come inside the left foot. And again, we can bend into the elbows a little deeper. We might use a block here. If it's available, maybe that knee opens up to the side just slightly. That left knee. And then we're going to let the right knee come down to the ground. Walk the left foot back in. Framing the foot with the hands. Tucking the right toes under, coming up into our low lunge. So again, taking the hands to the top of the left thigh, shifting the hips down and forward, focusing on the hip flexor area here. So drawing the chest in, the rib cage in, as we shift the hips down and forward. Maybe reaching up the right hand, breathe there. And then twisting toward the left side, so getting a stretch down through the right psoas. Breathe there. Inhale and exhale. Now bringing the hands back down to frame the left foot, sending the tailbone back toward the right heel as we point and flex the left toes up toward the sky. And we send the chest forward with a long spine, and then we can round it over, stretching out the hamstring. So breathe into that hamstring. Then we'll walk the hands forward, planting the left foot on the ground, walking the hands to frame the left foot, reach the right foot up toward the sky again. Holding here in our standing splits, we can use something to support us if we'd like, a block, a chair, or we could have the hands down on the ground. We might balance here or bend the right knee and take that left hand around, clasping onto the left hand onto the right foot if we'd like for the bind. And then release that right foot back, planting the hand, stepping the left foot back into our plank. This time we'll exhale all the way down to the ground. We're going to take those hands out in front of us in a Y position, planting the palms of the hands down on the ground. The rest of the body is going to be on the ground except for the very top of the chest, the chin. As we extend through the arms and plant those palms into the mat, we're going to grip. We're actually probably going to be off the mat here, but grip the ground with the hands as we lift up through the chest. Engage that back side. So if we've been running, certainly we haven't been using much of our arms. It might feel nice to engage the shoulder blades down through the serratus anterior and work the back side of the body in general. Reach through the toes, so keep that back side active. Release all the way down. Let's take the hands next to the sides of the body, pointing the fingertips, pointing the toes. Everything else rests on the ground for now. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, lift everything off the mat that we can. So everything except for the top of the thighs, the belly, the bottom part of the chest, maybe the rib cage. Roll those shoulder blades toward one another in our locust. Then we'll release down, tucking the toes, pressing the hands into the mat. Let's come up through a reverse kneeling plank and then find downward facing dog. In our down dog, we're going to turn both heels toward the right side of the mat, bending into the knees here, just getting a little bit different stretch through the calves, maybe into the ankles a bit here. Swivel them back to the opposite side, so over to the left side, and bend into those knees. Press the heels into the mat. Coming back to center, let's lift and extend the right leg up and back. Bend that knee, turn the hip open. We can flip our dog over if we'd like, a back extension here. Reaching the right fingertips out over the head, sending the heart and the chest open. And then sending it over, when we're ready, into a high lunge. So we walk that right foot forward, underneath the chest, knee directly over the heel. Come all the way up into our high lunge position. We're not going to hold here long. We probably already worked our quads enough. Take those hands behind the back, clasping them together for a chest opener. Let's bend into the left knee just a little bit so that we can have some movement through the pelvis, sending the top of the pelvis toward the bottom of the rib cage. So we've got to stretch through the hip flexor here. Take another breath, and then let the left knee come down to the ground. Hands come both behind the back, right on top of that left glute. And then send the chest, the heart, open toward the sky. As again, we shift a little bit forward, at the same time pressing back through the right foot. Take another breath there. And then we're going to send the tailbone back toward the left heel as we cross the right leg over the left thigh. So we're sitting here with the right leg crossed over the left and sending the chest forward, getting into the piriformis, the outside of the right hip. We might turn the chest, turn the gaze toward the right side. Maybe getting a little bit deeper there. And then we're going to uncross the right leg. So the right leg's going to extend out in front of us, taking the tailbone and sitting it inside the left heel. We're going to come back into a half hero. So we have an option here. We can come straight back if this is available to us. We're going to try to keep that left knee on the ground. Keep it in contact with the ground. Send the chest back, the spine back. We're going to come all the way onto the forearms. Maybe it feels okay right here. We might lay all the way down onto the back, straight back, or if that's bothersome to the knee, we might roll to the side, right side of the body, and focus on the stretch, just kind of half laying back, or fully onto the right side of the body for a traditional quad stretch where we can hold on to the left foot with the left hand, creating some tension there. And just breathe into that big quad muscle. Certainly we've worked it hard, so make sure to breathe there. Inhale and exhale. Take another breath. Inhale and exhale. And one more right there. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll come to center. And we're going to draw the knees in toward the chest. We're going to rock back and forth so we can come up into a seated position. Sweep those legs all the way out in front of us and all the way around. Find our down dog again. Let's soften the knees. Lift and extend the left leg up and back. Bend the knee, turn the hip open, maybe flipping our dog over if we'd like. Breathe here. Open through the heart and the chest, or just focus on that hip. And then send it back over, sweeping the left foot forward in between the hands. Again, planting that foot down so that the heel is under the knee, walking the hands up. Finding our high lunge position, we can clasp the hands again behind the back, or just use those palms and face the palms toward one another if the clasp does not feel good. Hold here, focusing on hip flexor stretch, hip flexor on the right side. And then taking that right knee down to the ground. We can keep those hands back there, placing on top of the right glute. Just going to apply a little bit of pressure there to that right glute, sending the hips forward as we press back with the left foot at the same time. Find a little baby back bend. Feel good through the side of the body. Inhale, exhale, take another breath, and then come back up, bringing the hands down to frame the body. We're going to send the tailbone back toward the right heel as we cross the left leg over the top of the right thigh. We're going to untuck the right toes here and sending the chest forward with a long spine. Listening to the left knee, listening to the hip, letting that hip open up as it's available. Breathe. So wherever we're feeling that tension, let's take the breath. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to take the left leg, extend it out in front of us, and lift up and sit those hips inside the right heel. Paying attention to how the knees feel, that right knee in particular here. We're going to send the body back, stretching out the quad on the right side. So our half hero, we have lots of options here. Again, we can come straight back. We can roll slightly onto the left side, propping ourselves up on the left elbow, keeping that right knee in contact with the ground. Or again, we could roll all the way onto the left side of the body, clasping the right hand onto that right foot. Breathe into the quad. Inhale, exhale. Take another breath. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll roll on to our backs. Draw those knees up toward the chest. In fact, let's take the knees so that they're directly above the hips, keeping the shins parallel to the ground. Interlace the fingertips behind the head without pulling on the head. We're going to lift the head off the mat, the top of the shoulders. Engage the core. So we're creating a 90-degree angle with those legs, keeping the shins parallel. We're going to press the right leg forward as we do. Take the right elbow toward the left knee. Come back to center, switch sides. Inhale to center. Exhale, right leg extends, left knee stays bent. Slow control, keep breathing back to center and switch. Always thinking about balancing out the body, engaging the core, keep moving. Inhale to center, exhale, switch. So right elbow toward the left knee, back to center, exhale, switch. And then release down, draw the knees in toward the chest, rock and roll. Back up to a seated position. Draw the soles of the feet together, sitting tall as the knees open out to the sides into a butterfly stretch. I'm going to clasp around the ankles, lift up through the crown of the head, and then with a long spine, we might shift those hips back so we can almost be hinged forward from the very start, beginning to hinge at the hips. So the hinge is happening from the hip crease, not the low back, not just a roundedness through the spine. Eventually, after we come down as far as we can with a long spine, then we can round over and relax into the stretch. So nice butterfly stretch. Let the head fall. We might even place a block under the head. If we want a little bit more restful, we could stay here, spend a little bit more time right here if we'd like. And then come out of that. Walk the hands behind the hips, pointing the fingertips forward or directly out to the sides. Let's point the toes. Take an inhale here. On the exhale, press into the hands and lift everything off the mat except those hands and the heels. Incline plank, opening up the chest again, feeling the back side of the body. And then go ahead and release down. We're going to roll down onto our backs. We're going to have the left knee pointed up toward the sky, the left sole of the foot planted on the ground, right leg crossed over the left, and turning that right knee and the hip open. We're going to just take a few ankle rolls. So roll the ankle, roll the foot one way, and then a couple the other direction. And then we're going to draw both legs in toward the chest, clasping the hands around the left hamstring. For our supine pigeon, we might lift the head and shoulders off the mat, draw the chest up toward the legs. We might turn to one side, turn to the other. Listen to the hips here, what you need. And then plant the left ball or sole of the foot down on the ground. And press up into a one-leg bridge. The hands are next to the side of the body. Let's take a glance down there at the hips. We're going to try to create level hips here. And then uncross the right leg. Find both feet on the ground for a full bridge. Keep breathing. And then release down. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So right leg is on the ground. The knee pointed up toward the sky. The left leg crosses over the right. And then we're going to take a few ankle rolls. Notice just holding the legs right here. Feels a little bit tight through the hips. Let's breathe there. Take the breath right there. Take some rolls to both sides. Then we're going to draw both legs in toward the chest, hugging the arms, the hands around the right hamstring. Draw them in. Think about breathing into the left hip as it opens. We're rotating in the hip socket, not down in the knee joint. And then lifting the chest up toward the legs if we'd like. Keep breathing. Get a little core action here at the same time if we're lifting the chest up. And then let the right sole of the foot come back down to the ground. Hands to the sides of the body. Press into the right foot. Lift the hips off the ground, one vertebra at a time. Again, glance down there looking for level hips. So right hip and left hip are right in line with one another. Hold there. And then release that left foot. Let's find our full bridge. We're going to do a few pulses here. Just let those glutes fire up again. So the balls of the feet come off the mat. A few little pulses. Pulsing just up. Little pulses up. Keep breathing. And then release all the way down. Let's take the hands to a T position. We're going to let both knees collapse over toward the right side. As we do, let's look over the left shoulder. all the way out toward those fingertips. And then we're going to windmill those legs all the way to the other side as we look out over the right fingertips and the right shoulder. And then bring them back to center. We can do the same thing again or cross the left leg over the right. Shift the hips over to the left side slightly. Take the legs and let them fall over toward the right side. This time taking the right hand on top of the left outer thigh and just assisting those legs over a little deeper, looking out over the left fingertips. Don't worry if the left shoulder leaves the mat just slightly here. Got a pretty tight bind in the legs. Let this spine relax. This should feel nice all the way up through the spine. At the same time, maybe down into that left hip. And then let those legs come back to center. We're going to switch sides. The left foot comes down, and we can just bring them over to the side without doing the bind if we like. Shifting the hips over to the right side, crossing the right leg over the left, like eagle position in the legs, taking the legs and letting them fall toward the left side as the left hand assists on the outside of the right thigh. And we look over the right fingertips. Relax into this stretch. Let it feel good. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll come back to center. Just checking in with the body, scanning the body. If there's anything else we'd like to do, we certainly can do that. Or maybe we take a few moments just to rest in Shavasana, maybe a seated meditation of our choice. Or maybe we call it done for today. Thanks for joining me. Looking forward to next time.